A coach should know everything and should minimize waste. Once they hand you that piece of beef or pig or anything, you have to respect the animal the maximum, right?
In the west side of Toronto lies Ossington Avenue, a major artery running through one of the city's most eclectic neighborhoods. Its heartbeat, though, is found north of Queen Street and south of Dundas West, where a memorable meal is steps away.
What's up, buddy? Nice jacket. That's sick. I love it. You look good, man.
Thanks.
You good?
To stay skinny after retirement.
French cooking is on the menu today, and the legendary Cote de Boeuf is the spot. I'm joined by Derek Roy, former Buffalo Sabres captain, one-time teammate of mine at Edmonton, and someone who enjoys good food done well.
We here use almost every part. The fat goes into cooking, the trimming goes into burgers, so on. People consume a lot of meat and maybe too much. So we try to have like the best products so they can have like the best meat and they don't have to like overconsume and have too much.
Hello, sir. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
This is Eamon, the gentleman taking care of us today.
I think you'll find that Cote de Boeuf offers a very typically French-style bar bistro that you will find in Paris. It's very tight and compact. There's a lot of interaction between clients and staff. People often say, I think I'm in France, I think I'm in Paris. And that's the type of thing that I want to get across to people, to take them away from everyday life, but to transport them somewhere else, to another country, into another city.
All right, cheers, my man.
All right, cheers, bud.
Yeah, let's eat.
First up, East Coast oysters on the half shell.
The French kiss.
You chew them?
Sometimes. It depends on the size.
Next, the beef tartare, finished with a raw egg yolk and some flaky salt sprinkled on top.
You can run half all of those minutes, huh? More, please.
We polished off that tartare quickly and then dug into some rich bone marrow, spread over sourdough toast.
Hey, this is outstanding. Oh, man.
Finally, the main event, the Cote de Boeuf, a 48-ounce bone-in prime rib, sliced and plated with duck-top potatoes and seasonal veg. As the meal hit the table, I started to ask Derek about his career in Buffalo, and what a welcome to the league this guy had.
Back then, nobody had, you had cell phones and stuff, but my parents didn't have cell phones and, we weren't texting each other. There was no social media, things like that. So my mom was driving to Rochester to watch the game. And that's when I got the phone call that I got called up. So I was like, oh man, I told my mom I'd meet her outside at noon. And my flight's at 1. So I'm like, oh man. So I'm waiting outside the arena for my mom. I'm like, Mom, no need to explain it. I gotta go, I got called up. You want to jump on the plane? And then my older uncle was with her and he can't fly. So she had to turn around, drive all the way back to Ottawa with my uncle. And I flew to Minnesota and I'm just wearing a regular turtleneck shirt or something like that. And then I asked the cab driver, hey, can you get me to the XL Arena or whatever? And he has no idea where it is. So I'm like, and I haven't eaten. So I'm like, can we stop and get some food? So he's like, yeah, there's a McDonald's on the way or whatever. I'm like, oh man, I got to eat something a little bit more healthy. So I went to Subway, got a meatball sub. I don't know if that was
Italian, eh?
I don't know if that was healthy. Show up at the game. I'm walking through the front door with my bag and sticks because the guy dropped me off right at the front, and then the ticket person looks at me, just starts laughing, goes, down the hall, buddy. You got to go down the hall, down the elevator, downstairs, whatever. So I get down there and I'm just disheveled everywhere, right? And I show up, first thing somebody looks at me and goes, you don't have a tie. It's fine.
Tough start. Tough start.
And I just showed up 10 minutes before a warm-up. We ended up losing the game, no points, no nothing. So
couple dashes.
Yeah, probably on the ice for a few goals. So it wasn't the best game ever, but leading up to the game was a good story.
Oh, that's great. Nice little meatball sub pregame. I love that. That's great.
It's been 11 years since the Sabres made the postseason, but in the mid to late 2000s, deep playoff runs were the norm for Roysy and Co.
My first year, we didn't have such a good team. We were kind of building towards something. We were really young. We had a lot of young players. They drafted really well. So we all kind of came up together. Once we started winning, we saw more and more people coming to games, and it was getting busier and busier. And then we kind of rolled it into that one season where think we finished like third in the league, or third in our conference, and we lost in the conference finals, Game 7.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think, was it back-to-back years you made the conference
Yeah,
finals?
and then we lost again in the conference finals to Ottawa the next year. I remember coming back from losing Game 7, and we flew in, and there was all these people just waiting out at the, kind of like when the Bills at the airport, yeah. And I remember driving down the street, and I'm like, how long is this? How long are these fans here? So we were driving probably, I don't know, like a couple of minutes down like a road, and there was just fans all lined up down the street, like waving and celebrating with signs and everything like that. So yeah, it was cool.
In hockey, life can hit you fast. I never fully understood the decision to head overseas to play until Derek walked me through his process to head across the pond.
I would recommend anybody do that at the end of their career, because we had such a blast, played 6 years in Europe. But it happened so fast, because I was playing in Washington, and Washington released me, and then now you got to make a decision, because you got 24 hours for somebody needs to pick you up off waivers. And then you get calls from all these teams going to Europe, and you're like, man, I haven't even like thought about going to Europe. Yeah. Like all you think about is the NHL, right? And then all of a sudden, Guy Boucher called me. He was coaching in Bern, and he's like, you got to come to Switzerland. Bern is an unbelievable city. And I'm like, I played the World Championships there. So I was like, yeah, I know I've been there before. And having Guy Boucher there as well kind of helped our decision. But we had to make this decision like really quick, like on the spot. They're like, leave on the first possible flight, and you're like, wait, what? So now you got to pack all your stuff, you got to get your family, you got to get going, you got to fly over to Europe. But once you're there, they treat you so well, and the organizations there are great. And it takes you a little bit to get your bearings there, but the hockey's great. Visiting different countries is great, and the experience was awesome.
With NHL players being unable to play for their countries at the 2018 Olympics, the opportunity arose for former NHLers like Derek to achieve a lifelong dream donning the red and white.
The call getting to make the team, you're just like, oh man, like I've done all I can, like let's hope they pick me, right? Because you have no idea. Like you have a sense like, hey, maybe, or whatever, but you just have no idea what anybody's thinking, right? So when we got the call, they said, hey, you're coming to the Olympics. I was so happy, called my parents, everything. And I remember being in warm-up, just skating around and stretching and kind of looking in the stands and spotting my parents and seeing them and being like, this is a cool experience playing in the Olympics, for my country. And what a time we had, and to come out there with a bronze medal and things I'll cherish for the rest of my life, for sure.
Yeah. Is it better to lose and win silver or to win bronze?
I mean, I've lost 2 World Championship finals.
How many World Championships you played in?
2, and then 2 World Juniors. I never lost one game until the finals all 3 years.
Oh boy.
So my Canadian record's not bad. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
And anyways, so I lost 3 of those, so I know how that feels. Winning bronze feels better than because losing gold, it takes you a long time, like most of that night, to be like, well, at least we won silver. You know what I mean? It takes you it takes you so long to realize that, as opposed to like when you're winning bronze, you've actually won something. So you're going back in the dressing room, everyone's celebrating. When you go back into a silver winning locker room, there's not much being said there. I think everyone's just sitting in their equipment, and like takes you a few hours to crack open a beer and kind of like, all right, we won an Olympic medal, or whatever.
Unreal, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. Great catching up.
All right.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, bud.
I hadn't seen Derek in years, but when you open a bottle of red with an old friend, it's like no time has passed. Quick with a story or a joke, Derek's personality is infectious. A seasoned veteran who always did it the right way. Now that we're retired, posted in Toronto, there is truly nothing better than having a hot stove conversation with a former teammate. Some seafood, red meat, and good wine doesn't hurt either. Until next time, Kaz.